Folks, our next guest is a young innovator making waves in the field of prostate cancer research, as well as a proud recipient of the Prime Minister's National Youth Award for Excellence in Innovation and Science and Technology. Joining us this morning, innovator in prostate cancer research and healthcare innovation, my cousin, Justin Paris. Hold on, sorry, my first cousin.
Just because you said the man get money for the Youth Award.
Justin.
Foolishness.
Morning, friend. Congratulations. Let's start there. How did that feel? How does it feel?
Winning the award, I would say that it was really exhilarating. So from coming down on the plane till the day of the award, I was just so nervous, but I just
you nervous? You did win already.
Well, I mean, you mean before the awards ceremony
before
itself?
you knew?
Yeah, so we learned on the day.
Right.
I would say winning the award, I felt like it was a testament to all the hard work I did, especially like within my community, just like having to reflect on my journey growing up in Burbank till now, and just having that unwavering support. So it felt like a little pat on the back to say, okay, Justin.
Big pat, my friend.
You did that.
You're at Cornell now?
Yes, I'm a rising senior.
And you are number one in their college program there?
Well, in my college program, yes.
Yeah, wow. And what are you studying, sir?
So my major is interdisciplinary studies, so that focuses on biology and economics. So I kind of like merge business with the medicine aspect because I'm looking forward to open up my own practice after becoming a surgeon.
So foolishness with that first, because you have my brother.
Yes, brother. It's your son.
It's your son.
And tomorrow you have an internship starting at Columbia.
Yes.
What is that about?
So we're going to be using biomarkers to track cancer within stem cells. So we're going to start using aspects like guinea pigs and mice. That's what we use in the labs. And it runs for 2 months. And then I'll also be transitioning to Dartmouth Geisel School of Medicine to start my second internship there. And that's also going to be focused on cancer research as well. So far, the lab hasn't really been settled because they have multiple labs. So I think upon getting there and doing training, then I'll see like what aspect of cancer I'd like to do.
Double-barrel question. Where is Burbank? And tell me about your time growing up there.
So Burbank is located off Windward Road. It's 18 Windward Road, Kingston 2. It's right in front of Holy Rosary Primary School. And I mean, it's the garrison. And a little bit about Burbank. I mean, I was born and raised there. I moved when I was 15 to Harborview because my mom had migrated to the States. And so I live with my aunt and my cousin in Harborview. But a little bit about Burbank. Burbank nurtured me. It's always been my support system, my community members. I grew up with my cousins, my families, my sisters. And I was also raised by a single mom. So, that's what it looked like.
Your mother was no joke.
Yes.
1 o'clock wake up.
Yes.
You said garrison.
Yes.
And at that time, did you think that Justin would be where Justin is right now? At that time, a little 13, 14-year-old young man?
I think, I would think so because I felt like I've always been on that journey and pace of knowing what I wanted, especially like being guided by my mom. And so I always knew I was destined for greatness. My grandma, rest in peace, she always told me that I had the gift. I'm really sorry that she isn't here to see that today. But I always knew what I wanted. And
you wanted to do medicine from early?
Yes.
You knew that from early?
Yes.
Why though? Why?
So, I mean, long story short, my mom has sickle cell. And so I always grew up seeing her in pain, and I always wanted to help her. And when she did, get the care, it wasn't the right care. When she went to the hospital, they used to just be giving her pills. They weren't listening to her as a patient. And so I wanted to break those barriers, I wanted to be there for our family, knowing that that person might have a son or a daughter, and they're depending on them to save their lives.
Leaving Jamaica was tough for you.
Yes.
The immigration process wasn't. What was that like, leaving here to go adjust to a new life in foreign?
So I used to visit often in the summers and winters, but I would just spend 2 to 1 month. But I'd say after immigrating, it was a bit sad at first because I immigrated during COVID. So I stayed inside. And I was just really bored. And I didn't live with my mom at the time. I lived with my dad. So I used to voice note my mom. I was like, I want to go back home, like it's so boring here. And I went to Kingston College, so all my life was there. And I used to see my friends posting that they're at sixth form, and I'm like, I wish I was there too. But then, she sent me back a voice memo. She was just like, Justin, remember the plan. And ever since, I've never lost suit of what she said.
Anything you would have done differently?
Had I been back in Jamaica?
Well, the whole journey. Now that you are where you are and you see what you can do and could have done, anything you would have done differently?
I think I'll give myself more grace and also tell myself it will be okay. I felt like I was really...
When you say give yourself more grace, what does that mean first and why?
I felt like oftentimes when you're on that journey, you don't look to give yourself a break. You're just like going through. And I think it's always about enjoying the journey, and not rushing through. And I felt like I just always just wanted to achieve. So at certain points, I wouldn't pay attention of what was going on. And I felt like I would tell the younger me, just have patience and give yourself some grace.
What is your because mindset is about your brain largely. Your fascination with the brain dates. What is it about the brain that fascinates you so much?
It's just that I want to know, like, how does this 3-pound organ manipulate the entire body, controls your function, your speech, your movement. And I interned at Harvard in my senior year of high school when I was in the States, and I was shadowing a neurosurgeon, and I was really fascinated because he was operating on a brain tumor that was affecting this man's speech and also his memory. And the fact that after the surgery he was able to bring everything back to life, I was super fascinated by that. Wow. And ever since, I was just like, maybe I want to dabble a bit more into that, and that's where that passion came from.
Obviously, we kind of know your story now, but growing up, as you call it, the garrison, well, Sim knows my story. I have the strictest mother in the whole world. She was all about
As did he.
She was all about education, but I didn't get it. I just didn't get it. So what made you stay, even though you had, what made you stay on the straight and narrow as a young man who obviously had some distractions?
I would say just seeing how hard my mom worked. She worked super hard with everything. She worked a double shift just to make ends meet. I was her first child for majority of the time. I got a sister when I started Kingston College in the 7th grade. So most of her time was reflecting on me. But just seeing how hard she worked, I wanted to award her to show her that, I saw all the hard work she was putting in. She always put everybody in front of her. And so I just loved her passion and precision, and I wanted to make her proud. But then after a while, just networking and speaking to others, it just gives you that drive and stamina to want to achieve more as well, and you want more for yourself. And I also want to give her the life that she deserves. So that I always just had a fighting.
The mama's boy, and I love that for you. You left here. The transition was difficult, but you went to high school.
Yes.
You graduated valedictorian. You got accepted to 40 universities.
Well, it was 50, so.
50?
Yeah.
That had to have been a super significant boost to your confidence, that make you just feel like you could have taken on the world.
Yes, it did. I was really nervous at the time because my transcripts were a bit delayed because of the COVID and then what was happening at Kingston College, our vice principal had passed away from COVID, and so there's a lot of issues with the paperwork. So some of my things were delayed on my end in the US. So I started to apply, and I was just like, God, if this is for me, then let me do it. And everything was free. So I really appreciate that everything was free. So I was sat down, I started my essays in the summer, and I was just like, I'm gonna give it a go. And yeah.
How many did you apply to?
I applied to, I want to say 55.
And you got accepted to 50 of them?
Yeah, I got accepted to 50.
Can you imagine the case you and them?
Yeah. I'm so impressed. So impressed.
Really
Thank you
great.
so much for sharing your story. And I know a lot of youngsters will say, no, man. They just make me feel say, I can't go out.
The story ain't over yet.
Yeah, man.
This is
Brilliant.
just the beginning.
So next time we say it's Dr. Justin?
Yes, it will be.
Okay.
In Jesus' name.
No crumbs. No crumbs. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Innovator in prostate cancer research and healthcare innovation, Justin Paris, soon to be Dr. Justin. You can't call him Paris again. Say Paris. Justin Paris de France.
So you have to put it.
You have to, if you don't turn your neck down French properly. Second edition of News in 5 is up next. We'll be right back.